So I gotta release this. But as far as the throttle response, I didn't feel any change to the throttle at all. Second gear. So I gotta release this. All right, there you go. 2017 Africa Twin. I've heard a lot of good things about this bike, and I'm gonna see what it's all about. So first thing to notice, or that I want to point out, is it has a DCT system and a dual clutch. So as you can see, I am not changing gears. I'm simply twisting the throttle. You see it just changed to second gear. It did that on its own, and I didn't even feel it. I could barely feel a little ticking of that gear change internally. But as far as the throttle response, I didn't feel any change to the throttle at all. Second gear, third gear. All right, there you go. Yeah, you just feel that whenever you click on the, this is gonna be interesting coming up to the light here without clutch or anything. Well, it's just like a car, so you just it's interesting. You just hold the brake, right? I gotta train my brain with this thing. It's almost like when I was riding electric bikes. You just treat it like an automatic transmission car with paddle shifters, right? What would you do in a paddle shifter car, right? So now I'm gonna pull off. Went back just a little bit. There we go. This is your Fast Life Motorcycle channel, the most awesome motorcycle channel in the universe. And in the chat, we have C. Kim. Good to see you, C. Kim. And we have Chris Carter in the house talking about guns, guns, guns. C. Kim asking, how's it going? Well, it's going much better than it was 3 days ago. I'm doing much better. I just got this cough that won't go away. A little congested, but other than that, I actually feel pretty good. Glad to be home. So, in this episode, I want to talk about some of the most exciting bikes for the trip that I went to. Basically, the trip to Americade, where I was able to do reviews on the Aprilia Tuono, the Bmw S1000 Double R, the Africa Twin from Honda, also the Honda Goldwing, also the Yamaha MT10, the Yamaha, oh my goodness, I keep forgetting the name of this thing. It's the SX900 or something, the Heritage, Yamaha. I will tell you one thing. I was very much surprised by a lot of the bikes that I rode. I am so glad that because of this project, this hashtag 365DB19, 365 days to my dream bike project, I'm thinking outside of the box. I'm trying to free myself of all preconceived notions and looking at a bike and, you know, oh, I don't like big bikes, or I don't like that type of bike. Don't knock it till you try it. Now, the Hayabusa, see, Kim knows what I'm talking about. That was one of the first bikes that kind of gave me a clue to change my thinking. When I rode on the Hayabusa, I was still on that hardcore, I want lightweight nimble. That's the only kind of bike I want. I was avoiding, I love fast, I love powerful, but not at the expense of lightweight and nimble. So I have been stuck in this middleweight, realm for a long time. I look at all these 1000cc bikes and bigger, and I'm just like, what do you need all that on the street? I want the lightweight nimble. Now, granted, the lightweight nimble didn't have the power that I was seeking. Daytona 675R, love the bike. It's got a lot of mid-range and low-end grunt for a 600, but it's not a massively torquey bike, right? It doesn't have massive amounts of power. So although I love it, how flickable it is, I mean, it definitely sort of appeals to my lightweight nimble. That is the twisty bike, right? I absolutely love that, but it doesn't really get me excited in terms of, and I shouldn't say it doesn't get me excited. Of course, I love the acceleration. It's got nice torque for 600, but it's not Hayabusa power. You know what I mean? It's not Hayabusa power, and it's not MT10 power, and it's not Tuono power. So let's talk about, and then I'm gonna tell you what my top picks from the show, the 3 bikes that I was most excited about after riding them, the 3 bikes that excited me the most, and then I'm going to tell you my 2 top picks for the show. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow you guys to hear sort of a preview of some of the reviews that are coming up. So I'm going to let you actually listen to the raw video of my initial feedback of some of these bikes. Right, so here it is, the Honda Africa. What is that bike called? Is the Africa Twin? Is that the actual full name? Let me make sure I'm calling this the right name. It's the Honda Africa, and that's the interesting thing. Some of these bikes I didn't really have a lot of experience with. I just it was recommended to me, hey, give it a shot, and I tried it out and pleasantly surprised. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't enjoy every single bike. I mean, I love motorcycles. I love being on 2. So, once I'm on a motorcycle that's not a bad motorcycle, doesn't have things that suck, I'm probably going to have a good time. But how good of a time will vary depending on how the bike sort of appeals to my interests. And this is this thing. This whole project has really been almost religious for me in terms of I'm reborn, in terms of what type of motorcyclist I am. Again, not stuck on the lightweight nimble, and also not stuck on the type of bike. What I'm focused on now is the things that bring me pleasure on 2 wheels. Now, any bike is going to give you the open road for the most point, so I'm not really worried about that. But it's the other features, the flickable. Now, I used to say lightweight nimble, but it's not about lightweight nimble, it's about flickable. I don't care if a bike weighs 2,000 pounds. If I'm specifically evaluating the flickable, the weight doesn't matter. If a bike weighs 2,000 pounds but it's flickable, then as far as the flickable pleasure that I get from a bike that's flickable, I will get that, right? If I can go into the corners and it turns nice and easy, take some nice sharp turns and go in there fast. And by the way, if you remember when I talked about, it's not, these characteristics have other features that go with them. So if you're lightweight and nimble, or not lightweight and nimble, but if you're flickable, you need to have stability to back that up. So when I look at a bike that's flickable, I say great. Then I look for stability to back that up, because what point is it of a bike that's going to flick through the corners nice and easy, but I'm scared that I'm going to crash, right? So I want flickable and stability, right? I don't care where I get it. If I get that, I'm happy. I also like torque, right? I like low end and mid-range grunt. As soon as I twist the throttle, whenever I twist the throttle, I want to be pushed back and I want to just, feel that power, right? So I want a torquey bike with a lot of mid-range and mid-range low-end grunt. I don't want the power just stuck up top like a lot of the inline 4s, right? So power. Now, the feature that goes with power is braking. If I'm going to have, massive amounts of power, so I'm coming around a corner and I got a short little stretch of road before the next corner, and I don't want to just coast through it, right? As soon as I come out the corner, I want to accelerate, even if it's a short little stretch. But if I'm going to have massive amounts of power, I can pick up a lot of speed in a short amount of distance. And if it's a short stretch of, I have a short time to accelerate and to brake for another sharp turn, I need great braking. So I want powerful, mid-range, low-end grunt, and powerful brakes to back it up, so that when I accelerate rapidly, I can also stop rapidly, so I can also be safe. Now, these are the main characteristics I look for in a bike that excite me. I'm no longer focused on the weight of the bike. Now, lightweight is still a characteristic that I like, because even if a bike is flickable and stable and has all the power, the fact that it's heavy is still there's still something about the lightweight that I enjoy. It's not a major factor, but I'm gonna feel much more comfortable and have more fun if I'm on a lighter bike, right? So that still has value, just not as much value as I thought, thanks to the Honda Goldwing. And we're gonna talk about that. So anyway, let's take a look at the chat, and let's start going through some of these videos. And I'm gonna give you my feedback on them. And we're going to talk about what my top picks are in terms of the bikes that I was most excited about after riding them. And then I'm going to tell you what my top picks for the show were from 2018. Americade. Oh, man. C-Kim says, Carl will be buying a Goldwing. Just wait. C-Kim, what are you talking about? Okay, so let's see what you guys are saying. You know what? He gets props for riding long miles on a little bike. Probably not as bad to travel on a little bike as I thought, but I can't see myself doing that. We're going to talk about that as well. That was also a learning experience as well. Not the first time I've done long miles on a small bike. Probably the longest miles I've done on a little bike. But here's the thing. It was not torturous. Again, another religious experience for me. Another change in terms of I'm born again. I'm thinking on a different level. I'm starting to realize, or I'm starting to theorize, that suitability for long distance travel is more about the rider and rider technique than it is about the bike. What a more suitable bike for touring does is make it easier, right? If you don't have a bike that's suitable for long distance touring, then you, the rider, has to work harder on your techniques to sort of mitigate the issues of being on a bike that's not designed for long distance travel, right? But there are many things you can do to make it work, right? If I could go 4 hours on a little RC390, and by the way, I added an extra hour to my trip on purpose. Listen again. I added an extra hour to my return trip on purpose. You know why? I was on 87. I was bored. I was on this amazing bike, the RC390, and I wanted me some twisty actions. I wanted me some more fun. So what did I do? I went into my GPS. I said avoid tolls, avoid highways, avoid freeways, and I knew what I was getting into, right? And right away, the trip time added an extra hour. What does that tell you? After riding bikes all day for a whole week, first I did a 3-4 hour trip getting up there. Then I'm riding every day, getting up early, testing all these bikes, running around all over the place, right? And then I'm at the end of the trip, I'm tired. I didn't even get to do the interviews I want to do because I was tired, right? I was just exhausted. And I get on this bike, and the weather is nice, and I'm like 2.5 hours in or something like that, and I decide I'm going to go off the highway, the faster way, because I'm going to look for some more fun roads to enjoy the bike, because I was in that mood of like, you know, let's have some fun, right? What does that tell you on a little RC390? I mean, me saying it wasn't torturous is one thing, but me telling you I added an hour to my trip. Once again, the new thing that I'm starting to realize or theorize on is, again, a touring bike just makes it easier to go long distances. With a bike that's inappropriate, like an RC390, it can be done without it being a crazy thing. It's just you have to do a lot of work. When you're on a Goldwing, you ain't really got to do no work. You don't even have to shift. You just sit down on that thing, listen to your music, and just don't crash, follow the GPS, whatever it says, and arrive, you know, comfortable, like as if you were in a car, except you had the open road, and if you want some nice twisties, you enjoy that as well, right? RC390, I can't do that. I can't just hop on an RC390 and do 3 to 4 hours and, you know, it's gonna work. There's things I need to do, and I'm gonna talk about that later. Anyway, I'm blabbing on and on. I want to get this video going. I don't want to keep this live stream running for too long. Let's see. Did not suffer. CKM said I suffered. I did not suffer. Only thing I suffered was getting sick from the rain from the beginning of the trip. Anybody up for a California ride? Oh yeah. Oh, you mean Canada? I don't know if you mean Canada. Oh, believe me, I understand that. Try driving a semi through there. Drive time gone because traffic is BS. I've ridden Hayabusa before. Hayabusa is nimble. See Kim, look. See Kim, I know you're gonna hate me right now. There is an open question that I still refuse to answer because it blows my mind. Is the Honda Goldwing more flickable than the Hayabusa? Now, part of my brain wants to say yes because that thing is so flickable, and that's not the last time I was on the Hayabusa on Mulholland Drive. That's not what I remembered. The way I describe the Hayabusa in the twisties is you can make it work, right? You can make it work. Not that it wants to make it work. You can make it work, right? You got to do that corner steering and all that kind of stuff. You got to work that thing, but it can be worked in the twisties. I didn't have to work the Honda Goldwing. So naturally, that would suggest that the Honda Goldwing is more flickable, but it's hard for me to say that because it's a Honda Goldwing. It's a Honda Goldwing. That's the thing that's been in my brain for days, and I refuse to just say it. But I will say one thing for a fact, without a doubt. And while we're talking about that, let's not look at the Africa Twin. Let's pull up the Honda Goldwing. Here we go. And I'm gonna play that my initial impressions of the Honda Goldwing. So here's one thing for a fact. And as a matter of fact, this is gonna be the first video that I'm gonna show you the preview of my thoughts on this bike. One thing is for sure, right? My brain may refuse to accept that this massive bike could actually be, and it's not a bike. I mean, the focus here is about touring, not about twisties, or maybe, I don't know, but I would think on the Goldwing the focus was not on twisties. But anyway, so it's hard for me to accept that it might be more flickable. But here's one thing that is without a doubt. My brain has no problem accepting and stating this fact. If I'm in the twisties like Mulholland Drive and I'm going downhill, you guys know downhill, you know what that means. You got gravity pushing you, right? You're on a massive bike and you got gravity that's pushing you, right? So that's a lot of force to stop the bike. On the Hayabusa, I don't feel very confident. The brakes are not the best, and this is a scenario where it really shows. I know they try to improve them with the new Brembo brakes, but not really confidence inspiring to be on a heavy bike like a Hayabusa and squeezing those brakes. Now, I don't know what they did with the Goldwing. I don't know the specs. All I know is if I'm going to be going really fast downhill on some twisties, right, I'm going to tell you right now without any doubt, I would rather be on a Honda Goldwing than a Hayabusa, because the Honda Goldwing brakes are, I mean, first of all, it's flickable, but I'm more focused on the braking. If you're on a heavy bike going downhill, me personally, one of my concerns is ability to stop. This is a lot of weight, a lot of momentum that needs to be stopped, right? It's not like stopping on a flat area, right? I would rather be, without a doubt, on a Honda Goldwing going downhill in the twisties and having to stop, because those brakes were amazing. The Hayabusa, not so much. I'm telling you. So anyway, blah blah blah. Let's actually listen to my thoughts, my initial thoughts on Honda Goldwing. We'll start that up in just a second. CKM said I'm about to buy a Goldwing. I may just do that thing, you know. Let's see. Make sure my levels are not crazy. Okay, so I want him to ride a VMAX. Yeah, I couldn't find a VMAX. They didn't have a VMAX. Apparently the VMAX is too powerful for the public. I would do track days with a Rex, get the SP model. I kind of don't care for the H2 SX. Fast and Fearless is in the house. Good to see you, man. Fast and Fearless is in the house. But I did like the looks of it when I saw it in person. You are starting to realize you're getting old. I like fast, really fast. Do 700 plus miles on a Grom and film that. Well, Christopher Carter, I think you're pushing it a little bit. Ride 40 miles through the desert. Okay. California Carlisle. Let's do that. Let's do that next year around April. Not the Goldwing. I love my Suzukis. My Hayabusa has Brembos. Yeah, we'll see how good those Brembos do. You're going down the hill too fast. Anyway, here are my initial thoughts. I'm talking all this stuff about, oh, the Honda Goldwing, it's so amazing. You guys should check it out. Well, listen to what I thought first time ever on a Honda Goldwing. Why did I get a Honda Goldwing? If I was not running your Fast Life Motorcycle channel, I would have never known what this bike is like. Because this bike does not in any way, I mean, I do like the way the engine looks now, the way they have the engine on the bottom, it looks kind of muscular. That's about the only thing that is of any interest to me. I have no interest, or so I thought, in any big bikes. I like touring, but I don't like touring bikes, right? I'm the weirdo like that. Right? I want super sport bikes, but I want a tour, but I don't want a tour. I don't want a touring bike. That's where I'm at, right? So this big old bike, which is nothing but touring, or so I thought, huge bike. I look at who's riding it, right? The demographic. I would have no interest. Oh, go try it out. You'll like it. I would never demo this bike if not for your Fast Life Motorcycle channel. I heard it got good reviews. I know you guys wanted me to check it out. I did this for you guys. And then shortly after I got on the bike, it was all about me. Right? I was having a good time. I was having a moment of like, wow. Right? Did not expect that at all. So anyway, this is my first time on a Honda Goldwing. Listen to my initial thoughts. Right? All this blah, 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 blah. Listen to what I first said when I got on the bike. Which is obviously very heavy motorcycle. I'm a little bit intimidated by this bike because I know if I happen to knock it over, I will not be able to lift it up. But same applies to the Hayabusa that I love so much. I've been going to the gym, but I don't think I can lift that thing up. So it's got dual clutch transmission as well. It's an all clutch, so we should be able to already on position, I presume, and don't really know what I'm doing right now, but we shall see. So it's an M Tour. Okay, I guess that's not a touchscreen. Starts right up. Alright, you get the same kind of paddles like on the other bike. Shout out to Renegade Rider 24. It's not shifting gears. Intimidating for the first time anyway. There we go. All right. Oh my goodness. This thing is comfortable. And I'm not really surprised. However, actually experiencing that comfort is a different thing from expecting it. Oh man, that dual clutch transmission changes gears like a champion. Wow. Oh man. This is the cross-country bike. This is how you do it. It's a Tour. There's sport mode. There's sport, econ, rain, Tour, sport. Oh my goodness. So not aggressive. I think this is equivalent of like a Porsche 911 in terms of that type of acceleration. Flat 6, 380 horsepower, really lightweight. Porsche was starting out. Jeez, that is so smooth. Man, that is so smooth. The shifting, you know, I've been riding other bikes. I rode the Africa Twin and I said, man, this is comfortable. You could do some miles on this, right? The Hayabusa, I said, yeah, man, you could do some miles on this. But I didn't know what I was talking about. Those bikes can definitely clock into miles, but not like this. And she turns. I feel confident and comfortable. This bike is huge. It's certainly heavy, but I have no fear of having some fun with it. Like right now we're riding pretty fast. Did that downshift, nice, automatically by itself. Now if I wanted to shift myself, I can just down click with the way I view. As comfortable as it is, you know, saying don't motorcycle, but also in terms of, so this is more confidence inspiring rolling through the twisties. And I'm even starting to wonder, there's no way this is more flickable than a Hayabusa. But why am I even thinking that? Is the better question, right? Why would I even have to debate or consider whether the Hayabusa, she's, wow, I'm not sure how to answer that question. Is this more flickable than a Hayabusa? How is that possible? I mean, we're doing, well, how fast am I going right now? Like 40 miles per hour. Yeah, she's flickable. Doesn't make any sense. How is this possible? Okay, actually, I disagree with that. And the reason why is, again, this whole experience sort of changed my thinking. Here's the reality. So we look at the Honda Goldwing and we say, oh, that's a big old heavy bike. So let's look at how heavy the bike actually is. So I'm gonna pull up the specs on this bike, and let's do some basic math. So 2018 Honda Goldwing, and let's look up weight. So I think I saw 800 pounds or something. Let's do a search. LBS. Okay, so depending on which model, 833 pounds, right? 833 pounds. Okay, so let me change your thinking for a second, right? So most of you hearing about a bike being 800 pounds, 830 pounds, you're like, man, that's a big old heavy bike. It's a hog, man. That thing can't turn. Listen. So you think 800 pounds is a lot of weight, right? It's all relative. 800 pounds is actually very light. 800 pounds is extremely light. The only reason you think it's heavy is because you're thinking in the perspective of a motorcycle. For a motorcycle, it's a lot of weight, but not for a vehicle. What kind of vehicle only weighs 800 pounds on the street? Think about that. What kind of vehicle only weighs 800 pounds on the street? Most vehicles on the street weigh, what, 4,000 pounds? I would say the average weight is, probably around 4,000. There's a lot of SUVs, so I'd probably say 45 to 5,000 pounds is the average weight. This is a fraction of that. If you have a car that even weighs 2,500 pounds, that car has the potential to be extremely maneuverable, right? When you look at cars like Lotus, very lightweight, they're still like, what, around 2,000 pounds or more, right? But why are those cars so great around the track, so nimble? Because they're lightweight. Lightweight at more than twice the weight of the Goldwing. So the bottom line is, if we think specifically from a physics standpoint, 800 pounds is not a lot of weight to be going through turns. What really matters is where the weight is, right? If you've got a high center of gravity and you're talking about a motorcycle, right, and you're 800 pounds, then that's a monster. That's the boat that we have in our minds when we think about a big bike, and it's gonna be a boat that's not gonna be, competent in the twisties, right? High center of gravity. That's the problem. 800 pounds is nothing. You're not holding up the weight, right? You're not holding up the weight. It's the wheels and the suspension, right? You're not like you gotta hold the bike up, right? No more than you have to hold the car up, right? So the only thing is, if the weight is high, then you do get affected by it, because as you know, with a motorcycle, even though you don't hold the weight up, the weight does affect you, right? Because you become sort of part of the vehicle. When you need to lean the bike, right, you are the one who shifts the weight to get into the turn, right? But if the weight is down low, the amount of force that you are applying or need to apply doesn't have to be a lot. So never look at a big bike and say, oh, it's heavy and it's not going to be nimble. You've got to first find out where the weight is, right? Because 800 pounds, 600 pounds, 500 pounds, those are all featherweights. Average vehicle, probably 4,500 to 5,000 pounds. The Honda Goldwing is a feather. Now, of course, relatively speaking, if you compare it to a 400-pound bike, obviously there is some difference there, but this is not a super sport bike, right? This is a different type of bike. So you have to look at it like, let's say this is an S-Class Mercedes-Benz, right? It's not going to have the sort of characteristics of a much lighter car. It's a different type of vehicle, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't handle well, right? You can have a big vehicle. Look at the BMW M5. That's a pretty heavy car, but because of the way BMW has designed it, as I learned, and I was actually surprised about that car is actually very nimble. I didn't even understand how they could get a big car like that to maneuver. So it's not just about the weight. Once again, it's weight distribution, right? So bottom line, the Honda Goldwing was one of the most fun and exciting bikes at the show. This is a show where I rode an Aprilia Tuono, I rode Bmw S1000 Double R, and yet one of the most exciting bikes for me was the Honda Goldwing. Once again, it's a different type of fun, right? You can have an awesome SUV, you can have a Mercedes-Benz S-Class, right? And you can have fun in that car, right? You can have fun in the M5, but it's not the same thing as fun in a 911 Porsche, right? It's not the same thing as fun in a Lotus. It's not the same thing as fun in a BMW M2, right? But you can still have loads of fun in an S-Class, right? You can still have loads of fun for sure in a BMW M5. That's the way I look at it. This is a different type of fun. It's a different type of vehicle, but it's absolutely a thrill to ride. It's absolutely fun to ride. I wish that I could have rode the Goldwing back home. Now, of course, you're an RC390, of course. You probably wish you could ride on any bigger bike. But no, this bike is fun on its own. I don't wish to ride on this bike simply because it's more convenient and it's be more comfortable for the ride. I mean, those things are true. But because I would actually enjoy riding it as well. Especially in the end of the journey when I added an hour to my trip. Those nice twisty roads, I would have enjoyed being on the Goldwing as well. A different type of fun, but still fun, absolutely. Honda Goldwing, love it. Great job for 2018. Honda, I don't know how you pulled it off, but excellent job. Honda Goldwing, go check it out. All right, on that note, let's move on to the next motorcycle. At this rate, this live stream is going to take forever. But anyway, let's try to not make that be the case. So the next bike I want to show you is the Africa Twin. We're just going to do a quick preview of that bike. So let's move on to that. And make sure the sound is good. Boom. Let me show you something neat about that. Put it clutch. So as you can see, I am not changing gears. I'm simply twisting the throttle. You see it just changed to second gear. It did that on its own, and I didn't even feel it. I could barely feel a little ticking of that gear change internally. But as far as the throttle response, I didn't feel any change to the throttle at all. Second gear, third gear. All right, there you go. Yeah, you just feel that whenever you click on the, this is gonna be interesting coming up to the light here without clutch or anything. Well, it's just like a car, so you just it's interesting. You just hold the brake, right? I gotta train my brain with this thing. It's almost like when I was riding electric bikes. You just treat it like an automatic transmission car. Oh, because I mean, sport mode, level 3, the most aggressive. Not a huge amount of power, but I certainly felt comfortable leaning it in that turn. But when I parking brake. So those are the main highlights of the 2017 Africa Twin. In the off-road conditions, you can twist that throttle, brake traction in the rear, and let the rear spin around. You also have the ability to turn off the ABS for the rear only. If you look, maybe you guys can see it to the left of the G. That's where you can turn off the rear ABS, so allowing you to do those nice tricks. Now we're going uphill. Feels nice that if this bike were to for some reason cut off, I could lock in that parking brake. So those are the main highlights of the 2017. Of course, you're gonna expect that. The upshifts are behind the lever, behind the handlebars. Downshifts are facing you on the lower side there. Wow, nice. So the Africa Twin was certainly a comfortable bike to ride. I could certainly put some miles on that, but I'm not a big fan of big off-road bikes. I don't have a lot of off-road experience. That's probably part of it. So when I think about off-road, I want the lightest thing possible because I think about a lot of sliding around. And if a bike's doing a lot of sliding around, I'm thinking about me having to put my foot out to support the bike from falling down. And I'm thinking the heavier the bike is, the scarier that idea is. So in my mind, once again, as a guy who doesn't have a lot of off-road experience, I'm thinking of as close as I get to bicycle weights, the better. This is what I'm thinking. Because I don't want any kind of weight. Now we talk about weight. Now this is definitely, when it comes to the dirt, for now, again, I lack the experience of off-road, right? I've been off-road, but really, really light, right? So in the off-road world, I am still absolutely stuck on my lightweight. So whenever I see even a 600, right? If I'm in the dirt, even a 250 to me, and then the tall suspension, I don't feel comfortable. So again, if a 250 is tall and heavy to me in an off-road situation with a lot of sliding around, super lightweight on the road, but off-road, I feel like a 250 is a big bike. So even a 650, I'm just like, whoa, right? And this is the Africa Twin, which I think is even bigger than that. But it is a comfortable bike. I like the transmission on it, but it's not for me personally. Would I recommend it? Absolutely, but it's not my style of bike. I try to be outside of the box. You know, trying different things. Don't knock it till you try it. But I've tried it. I've tried it before. I tried it here. And to be honest, the Goldwing is something that I'm more excited about than I am about this bike. And that's not to take away from this bike. Once again, this is not my style of bike. Now, the Goldwing I thought was not my style of bike, but that's without me having any experience. Now, I've been on off-road bikes before, right? I've been on 600, 650 class bikes. And I've never liked them in terms of for my style, right? I don't like the look of them, and I don't like the really tall. That doesn't work for me, right? I've tried it. Don't knock it till you tried it, but I've tried it, and now I continue to knock it even after having this experience. But for this type of bike, I think this is a great bike. Once again, if that's your thing, go check it out. But not for me. Not for me. Now let's move on to the next bike after I take a look at what you guys are saying in the chat. Red and Blue Lights, just be black all the way out, gun. And what are you talking about? Brass knuckles. It's a tank. You need weight in real off-road. You need weight in real off-road. Well, I'll take your word for it. I say VMAX and a backpack and it's all good. Tank bag. Oh, don't forget rack and saddlebags. All right, so let's move on to the next bike, which is the... What bike is this? I'm not even sure what bike this is. This is the Honda, I think it's a 650F. So let's see what we have going with the Honda 650F. I think the camera died on me because I don't see any other clips there. Now this looks like the Bmw S1000 Double R. My first ride. These clips are not even in order. What is going on? What's going on? Let's resort these clips and see what the hell's going on here. BMW S1000 Double R. So this would be my first time ever riding a BMW S1000 Double R. After years of talking smack, what did I have to say about the actual BMW S1000 Double R? So this looks like my second time riding it, because I remember my camera wasn't working, and I only got it started in the middle of the ride. Oh, that's the end of the ride. Okay, so let's see. We want another clip. I think this is the one. Okay, so this is my first time ever riding a BMW S1000 Double R. So after years and years of talking smack, BMW fanboys, you guys are all caught up in the hype. Well, is the BMW S1000 Double R all about hype, or did it live up to the hype? What did I think about riding for the first time ever the BMW S1000 Double R? Amen. I mean, smooth. Butter is butter. My first impression is butter smooth. Butter smooth. I feel very comfortable. I don't just mean comfortable in terms of the ride quality. I mean in terms of, I've never ridden this bike before, and I don't really feel like it matters. So, amen to that. And a neutral there. Dynamics definitely. Oh yeah. This is this is a very smooth machine. I feel like I could do some significant miles on this bike, and I'm very much amazed at how deceptive it feels. So we're in race mode right now, and yeah, you have a very smooth throttle response on this bike. You have so much room for error in terms of your throttle control not being that good. Like, I can jerk the throttle a little bit right now at just under 4,000 RPMs. If I jerk it, nothing's happening. I'm just getting slight. It's almost the equivalent of a very strong wind. Imagine you got some wind blowing you from behind. It's like that kind of response. Now it reads up into higher RPMs. Let's see 6,500. 6,500. Let's see 6,500 RPMs. 1 second. Oh yeah, it's not violent, it's getting very serious. Let's see, I would almost say aggressive. Let's do a downshift to third. Nice and smooth. Downshift, just no clutch. Just press down on the clutch pedal. I mean on the shift pedal, and you're good to go. So here we are, almost 7,000 RPMs. Oh man. Okay, now that's getting aggressive. Now that is getting aggressive. Not much force required at all. These brakes are very powerful. These are reminding me of the Tuono factory editions brakes. Wave to the cops. Always wave to the cops. To no one. Surprise, surprise to no one. The BMW S1000 Double R is a race machine. It is very precise. The handling is amazing. Going over these rough bumps, it's got that smooth, mellowed out. Gotta love it. Oh man, this is, wow, this is a bike that I feel like, I almost feel like I almost feel like I could really go fast on this already. Like in nice roads like this, I feel the confidence that I could handle it, you know, because I have a bike that's planted enough, right? Planted enough, precise enough. So when I want to accelerate, I give a smooth acceleration, and that's what I get back. It's not going to give me something rough that might be too much for the conditions. I'm locked into the road. It's doing exactly what I tell it to do, and it's mellowing out those rough roads. And just in case I do screw up, which I probably will, powerful brakes, one finger pulls me right to a stop. I actually gave a little bit too much braking, or more than I wanted to, with only one finger. So that's not a negative, that's actually a very good positive. These brakes get the job done, pulling you out of the corner with precision. Okay, that was a little scary there, but only because that was a point where I went further than I would have liked to on a bike that I'm not familiar with. And possibly I am no Valentino Rossi. I went to the MSF course, I've been on the racetrack, I've taken the advanced course, but I'm no Valentino Rossi, so I could have potentially made some mistakes in that corner back there, and this technology might have saved me. Maybe you guys with a wide angle view can confirm, maybe you saw some lights flashing, because I was going a little bit fast and the road was a little rough. It was a corner like this actually, and I felt a little like, whoa, look at this, coming out of the corners. Jeez Louise. Wow. But you've got the brakes to stop you. You've got the power to pull you out of the corner with precision. Jeez. Wow. This thing is a beast. But at precise. This is I don't want to say the N-word. I love my Kawasaki, but let's just say martial arts. Martial arts. Whoa. So the Tuono and MT10, they are smooth in terms of throttle response. You can get the similar throttle, but not compared to this. Also considering that the power rolls on. So this is the MT10. We're gonna take this out and see what it's like. I'm sure you guys saw my video that I did before talking about it. And alright, so this is the MT10. I'm 6 feet tall. You're watching your Fast Life Motorcycle channel. Let's see, put in the start position. Huh, interesting. Alright. Okay. Feels like a weighty bike. Got some pounds on it. We're barely moving at any speed at all, so got to consider that. yeah. I like this, man. I feel like I could do some miles on this guy. Wow. Here doing 34, a little bit over 4,000 RPMs. I feel like I should shift up. I don't need to, but let's do that. Nice smooth shift. I feel slightly chugging along, slightly. This is a very, very smooth bike. The suspension remains very plush. The seat is very comfortable. Again, I feel like I could rack some miles up on this bike. And on my quest to find a dream bike project, #365DB19, one of the things I've been looking for is something that meets my very unique interests. I love twisties, right? So I love something nimble. I don't know about the nimble on this thing though. It's definitely not nimble. Well, lightweight rather. Something great for the twisties. I love power, violent power. So lots of torque, aggressive acceleration. I'm pretty sure this is going to have that aggressive acceleration that I like. So yeah, it's there. It is there, folks. So we're cruising at 5,000 RPMs in second gear. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She's got it. And I'm just barely tugging. Let's see. Third gear. I got a big smile. I wish you guys could see the smile on my face right now. I'm riding this bike. So 4,000 RPMs. Third gear. Wow. Okay. Let's go down to or up rather to fourth gear. Fourth gear, just on the 4,000 RPM. More significant. You know, into turns. Oh man, yeah, she's bumps. So this, I feel again like I can rack up a lot of miles. What do I feel about being in the twisties on this thing? Well, fourth gear seems to be a good gear. Fourth gear, 44 miles per hour. Seem to be chilling. Oh man, yeah, she turns, baby. Oh man, this is nice. This is nice. So my impressions thus far: it's comfortable. It's got a lot of torque, a lot of grunt, muscle, ready to go at any point in time. The throttle response is super smooth. It's laid on, nice and easy. It's very gentle. If I'm gentle, it's gentle. If I want to get a, you know, into turns, I want to get a slow acceleration out of the turn, I can do that. Not a lot of vibration at all. The vibration comes in at the higher RPMs. Let me see when that is. So that's third gear. So second gear. So a little bit of vibration. So this feels like a Ktm Rc390 right now at this vibration level. Now the vibrations are getting more significant. This would be potentially annoying. Oh yeah, she turns very well. She turns very well for a big bike like this. If you want to be in the twisties, oh man, yeah. Get into this turn right here. Yeah, I'm sitting almost completely upright. Actually, I can sit, I think, the MT10. I'm getting the same.
Thank you everybody for listening in. Go ahead and click the like button for those of you that are just joining in. Shout out to C. Kim, Fast and Fearless, and Chris Carter. This is now the Aprilia Tuono Factory Edition with the Owen suspension.
Kinds of
torque, low end mid-range grunt. I'm getting a canyon carver, and dare I say a superior canyon carver. I feel like the MT10 might have been more flickable. Again, I would want to ride it again to see. But I feel like the MT10, the turn-in was better. So as far as, let's put it this way, let's do elements. Let's rank them side by side. Power delivery. Too similar to distinguish, or to, you know what I mean, to separate the two. I'm sure if I spent more time I could maybe, but for right now, in the moment, having ridden the other one an hour ago, and this is my first time riding this, I don't feel enough separation to distinguish. Handling, I feel, in terms of how solid it feels on the road, I feel like they both were very well planted. I had a similar level of confidence on the road, so that's not something to distinguish. Smoothness of acceleration, I feel, is not enough to distinguish. Roll off, points goes to the MT10 for sure. This does not have that jerky sort of the Tuono. On this ride, how great the brakes are. There's got to be a reason for that. It's my first time riding. I'm going where I don't know where I'm going in this fall in this group. I don't know what this got. A very smooth throttle. 5,200, 5,300 RPMs. I'm leaning forward because I know what's to come. Let's see. Jeez, wait. So let's do 7,000 RPM acceleration. Jeez. Wow. RPMs. Wow.
No, I just have a cough in. 'We're gonna take a brief break from the review previews and show you guys some footage from the RC390, just cruising through Americade. Let you guys see all the bikes that came out, locals and people from out of town riding on the Ktm Rc390 POV.
Alright, so first impression around the parking lot feels a little sticky. The steering, sort of a muddy sort of feeling.
So this is a very weird bike. This is the BMW 9T, and right away, as I just commented, it felt very sticky and like it didn't really want to turn, and just a very awkward feeling bike. I've never felt anything like it at all. It definitely was not one of the bikes that I liked at all.
Through the parking lot here. Brakes seem to be competent. Target formation. Oh man, feels a little weird going into that turn that's at that speed. It's got this strange, it's almost like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like it wants to do something else. This is your Fast Life Motorcycle channel. This is the BMW 9T. This is going to be a first ride experience. Wow, little torque steer there. As you twist it, you can see there. Wow. There we go. So, see that engine sticking out there? Let's see the... Wow, little torque steer there. It's just how I was riding. This is the power, I think, that I'm, how comfortable I feel in these twisties. So, I will get back into my normal friendly, family-friendly mode. Just because I don't know who's listening. But anyway, yeah, this is that supermodel.
So this bike is one of the bikes that really surprised me. Let me show you guys this bike. Let me see if I can pull this up on the website. So this should be, if I go to the Yamaha website, Yamaha Heritage 900. So this bike, looking at it, it's you know, kind of like with the Goldwing, you know, where I would never think that this is the type of bike that I would like, right? It's a classic style of bike. You know, I'm just looking at it. I mean, I'll be straight up. I don't, it's not an ugly bike, but it doesn't appeal to me. I'm the super sport guy. I like the sporty bikes, right? I'm sure you guys figured it out by now, right? This thing has no fairings. And it doesn't at least have like a mean naked bike type of look going on. It just looks like a standard motorcycle. I would never be interested to ride the Yamaha Xsr 900, but shout out to Yamaha. You guys were awesome. You were awesome hosts. Shout out to Honda as well. You guys were really good. Thank you for hooking me up. Absolutely loved it. The accommodations and dinner and all that stuff, that was awesome. And Yamaha, you guys are really good as well. A lot of good information was provided, and you know, I gave them the type of bikes that I like, and I was told, hey, get on the Xsr 900, right? And I said, again, I'm in that mode now where I don't knock it till I try it, right? I may have my preconceived notions or whatever, but I'll give it a shot. If it sucks, well, I'll ride it and I'll say, hey, it sucks. Guys, I got on the Yamaha 2018 Xsr 900. It was one of the most fun bikes that I rode at the show. Now, I know some of you guys are like, man, but he said about the Goldwing. Okay, the Goldwing, that's a different type of fun. It was absolutely fun, but you know that I am really about the lighter weight, nimble, flicking, all that kind of stuff. Yes, the Goldwing was flickable, but it's still a very big bike. Now, this is a bike that's more, you know, it's closer to the weight of what I like. And then it's got that violent acceleration.
You've got that, basically it's got the same motor as I believe the MT9, so you've got that torquey engine at low end and mid-range grunt, and you've got violent hoodlum acceleration available, right? So you're in my zone, right? It's not a different type of fun. This is the type of fun that excites me. Violent acceleration, a lighter weight package, right? I don't know what the weight is on this bike. Let's see if you can see the weight on it. Specifications. I don't think it's that heavy at all. Chassis, dimensions, 430 pounds wet, 431 pounds wet, 847cc engine. That is pretty lightweight considering the amount of power you have. Now, do they tell you the horsepower and torque? They don't tell you, but I can tell you this thing had amazing amounts of torque and horsepower, lots of low end and mid-range grunt. That's the stuff that really excites me. So let's see. Once again, I told you guys, it's not about the type of bike that you like. It's about the thing that the bike does that excites you. You've got to figure out what those things are. If you guys are trying to figure out what your dream bike is, right? I'm trying to figure out what my dream bike is. What you need to do is isolate what excites you from the bike itself. Flickable, absolutely. Xsr 900 is absolutely flickable, right? Check. Does it have the stability to go with that flickable? I'm flicking through the corners, but am I afraid? No. This thing sits on the road very well. It is a very, very stable bike to back up how flickable it is. Flickable and stable. Boom. Those are two major elements of excitement I get from a motorcycle. Power and acceleration. This thing has that torquey engine. Low range or low end grunt, mid-range grunt. It is there. That thing is absolutely got lots of power. This is a little wheelie monster. I don't know why I said little. It's a wheelie monster, period. Right? So the massive power that I like, that excites me. Boom. Check that off. Does it have the brakes to back it up? Absolutely. Check that off. So already you've got the 4 magic elements that get me excited on a motorcycle. Great handling and confidence-inspiring stability to go with that. Massive amounts of power and powerful brakes to go with that. Right? This bike is so good that even though visually it does not appeal to me at all, the only thing I can say I like about it would be the exhaust. I like that little short exhaust, black, painted black or whatever. That looks kind of cool. That's about it. The wheels are cool. I'll say the wheels are cool. They're not like, whoa, look at those wheels. But if I were to take something from this bike, like what do I like? I'm going to take everything that I like. Wheels, exhaust, swing arm. I don't want anything else. But this bike was so much fun to ride that I think I would actually buy an Xsr 900 just because it's so fun. I say, screw the looks. Forget about the looks of the bike. Because when you're on that bike and you're going through the twisties and you twist that throttle and you feel that acceleration and you go into that turn and you dip it in, right? And then you just, that torque just muscle out of that corner. When you're doing that and you're smiling ear to ear, what difference does it make what this bike looks like? It's that good. Again, another surprising bike. Don't knock it till you try it. I'm so glad that I have freed myself of all these preconceived notions and I'm now open to trying just about anything. Right? I will give it a shot. I mean, not just anything for no reason. If someone tells me it's really cool and it's fun, even though it may not look that way to me, I'll give it a shot. Right? Previously, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. Goldwing? Please. Heritage edition? Come on, that's a old man bike. Right? I want me an R1. right? But no more am I doing that. I will give everything a shot if it comes recommended. If someone gives me a strong recommendation, you should try this, I'll give it a shot. And I am so glad I'm doing this. So you guys are listening. How many bikes are out there that you guys might have a blast on, but you would never know because you refuse to get outside of your box, right? You love the Hayabusa, see Kim, right? All that power in the big bike is comfortable. You don't want any little itty bitty whatever. How do you know that? Until you try it. Right? You small bike guys don't want to try a big bike. Give it a shot. You never know. Big bike guys don't want to be in a small bike. Give it a shot. You never know. You might be surprised. You high power guys, I don't want to be in a bike that doesn't have a lot of power. Give it a shot. You might be surprised. Right? You might go on a lower powered bike that is so stable and so flickable that you could actually go through the corners faster than on your bigger bike. Right? So on the bigger bike, you're all slow because you don't feel confident and it's so much power, you're afraid to twist that throttle. On this smaller, lighter weight, nimble bike, you're flying through the twisties with confidence and a smile from ear to ear. But you never know that until you tried it. So once again, a top pick from the show, definitely the Yamaha Xsr 900. Absolutely a top pick from the show. That bike was absolutely amazing. Good job, Yamaha. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. I like my experience with Yamaha, the company, and I definitely like my experience with many of their products. I like the R1M. I like this, I can never remember the name of this bike, the Xsr 900. I love that. I love the MT10. Right, so I don't know, guys. And then my good friends Kawasaki didn't even bother to show up at the show. Neither did Harley. Anyway, she's different. She's not a typical supermodel. She's taller than you'd like, right? Maybe she's a little bigger than you normally would like, right? Not really the body type that you desire. Right? Supermodel. But she's a supermodel. And you talk to her and you realize she's actually pretty smart. She's okay, C Kim is up in the chat just causing a ruckus. He is in here spreading rumors talking about your fast life is getting a Goldwing. Dude, we're just starting the series, man. I'm only on bike number 2. 2005 Ninja 250 bike number 1, year 1. Year 2, bike 2, Ktm Rc390. And I'm not sure how many years, virtual years, I'm going to keep that bike for. We're not even to bike 3. I don't even know what bike 3 is going to be. Right? Bike 3 might be the 3rd year of riding, potentially, or the 4th year of riding. It depends. How long, if I had only been riding for, let's say I just got the bike number 2, so only been riding for a year and a couple months, right? If that was my experience, how long would I stay on a bike like an RC390? And what would I want to jump up to next? Obviously, we want to bump up the power because at this point, you haven't really experienced power yet. Your first bike was a 250. That's got really no power. Next bike was RC390. I mean, much more power than the 250. It's definitely a nice little lightweight, torquey bike when you consider the power to weight ratio, right? So it's more power than the 250, but it's a very lightweight bike as well. Combination, you know, it's a fun little bike. It's got a little good amount of peppy to it, but we ain't nowhere near any kind of super aggressive or violent. Ain't nothing violent about an RC390. So the next bike might be the bike where we start to be comfortable to the level of introducing a little bit of aggression in terms of power. But I think as a rider that's only been riding for a couple of years, we don't want to go too crazy. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure how crazy I wanna take it. You know, with all the experience that I have going back in time, how much power would I put myself on in my 2nd or 3rd year of riding?
Not decided yet. But see, Kim, stop spreading rumors about this Goldwing. I mean, we all know that that's gonna be my dream. What? I mean, see, Kim. Oh my goodness. Let us continue. Let's just move on. See, Kim is probably having some beers. Let's give him a chance.
It's pretty funny. She's caring. She's a great person, right? It's not just a primal thing, right? You know, she's the one, and I feel like that's what this bike is to me. You know, it's I definitely would love to own this bike. I enjoy this so much that I would even have to ask myself, how important are the looks? The $5 grand, this thing. Second gear, $5 grand. Jeez! Woo! From $5 grand, this thing is ready to go. That's what I want. What I would want on top of this, though, is not to take away from this bike, but in terms of dream bike, the ultimate bike for me, not for you, for me, more precision on the throttle. All right, so this is the XS. Interesting thing to note, I'm 6 feet tall. Respect. Not as much. Ignore the hazard switch, but it's funny, you get on all these bikes and
so now this is the KTM Superduke. Finally I get on this bike, and let's see what it's all about.
amazing machine. Cruiser, but I don't have any concerns there. Daily riding this bike, I mean, it's obviously way overkill. It's a beast. I might want to change the modes. I mean, with, you know, if you're easy on the throttle, wow, see that? I just kind of, she's got a little twitchy nature. That's just second gear, 3,500 RPMs, and I just unintentionally moved my hand a little bit, and I got this. Yeah, wow, yeah, she's a little twitchy. Let's see if we can change the modes and see what the difference is. So, as a daily rider, let's put it to street mode.
Alright guys, so I'm going to wrap up this live stream. My final thoughts and top picks for the show. So the bikes that I was most excited about for the show in terms of after riding them. Okay, so the bikes that were most exciting to ride. Let me qualify that. I don't want to say bikes I was most excited about because that sounds like expectations. I'm talking about after I rode them. So the most exciting bikes to ride of the show 2018 Americade, for me, Honda, not in any particular order, Honda Goldwing for sure. The Yamaha Xsr 900 for sure. I would buy that bike for sure. Honda Goldwing I would buy as well, but that would be
like a third or fourth bike for me. If I wanted to do a really long distance trip, or if I was just gonna put on some miles and I didn't feel in the mood to deal with I want to be on a bike, but I don't want to deal with, I'm going to call it the nonsense of being on a bike, right? Maybe I'm not feeling well, or I'm stressed out, or whatever it is. I just don't want to be bothered, right? With the bungee cord, whatever, carrying a backpack or whatever. I want to just get on a bike, put my stuff in the luggage, lock the luggage, right? Ride to where I'm going to ride, just park the bike and get off the bike and do what I need to do. I don't want to have to park in the window to keep an eye on it because somebody might steal it, or because I got to watch my saddlebags. I don't want to have to take off my saddlebags and be lugging them around because they're heavy. I don't want to deal with that stuff. I just want to have the fun of riding a motorcycle, and I want to be comfortable. I want to rack up some miles, and maybe I might want to do a little twisties and have some fun with that, but that's not really what I'm talking about right now. That's the bike I'd pull out of the garage, go and grab that Honda Goldwing for sure. The Xsr 900 I would buy for sure, even though I do not like the way it looks at all. It's that good. That's another exciting bike for me to ride. MT10 for sure. That is a bike that I would buy. But here's the thing: the second time we'll talk about the top picks, right? These are just the ones I was most excited about, but I'm gonna select from this list my favorites, right? So let's move on. MT10 for sure. That's a bike that really looks like something I would buy. The Superduke for sure. I don't know if I would buy a Superduke, but that was definitely a fun bike to ride for sure. The Bmw S1000 Double R. That was also an exciting bike to ride. So those are my top picks from the show. Some of the most exciting bikes to ride at the show. I would say my top picks of the show. I would say MT10 without a doubt. And when I say top picks, now I'm not just talking about fun, because there's fun joyride, and then there's would you buy it? And then there's 6 months down the line, would you still be grinning? A year down the line, would you still be grinning? 2 years down the line, you're going to make an investment in this bike, right? Again, you can have a bike that's fun for a joyride. Oh man, this bike was so much fun! But would you really take it home? Would you really want to keep it for years? Would you really want to invest in it? Now when we're talking about the investment level, now we're talking about marriage, right? There is the one night stand bikes, right? One night stand, it was fun, had a great time. I don't really want to necessarily see you again necessarily. You know what I mean? I mean, we could see each other for a little while, but I'm not really trying to marry you, right? So a lot of these bikes are all fun, but only a few of them are marriage material. They're good for an extended, let's say an extended one night stand, right? And to infinity, right? So from that list, the list of bikes that I would buy that were so much fun, and fun in a way where I would buy the bike. Bmw S1000 Double R, top pick, period. Top pick, again, these are bikes that I would marry, right? So I'm not saying it was the most exciting bike ever, right? I don't think that would be the case. Not with how anemic it is in the lower power band, right? You know, I love the low end mid-range grunt. You don't get that in a BMW S1000 Double R, except in local streets in first gear. It's pretty torquey, right? But that's a limited window. Either you're way up top or you're going slow in first gear. Otherwise, not a lot of power going down low. But it so many check boxes. It checks off so well that without a doubt, out of all those bikes, the BMW S1000 Double R is absolutely a top pick for the show. We're not talking about what I feel about BMW as a company. We're not talking about reliability. We're not talking about resale value. We're talking about, is this a bike that you would take home to mama? That sounds ridiculous, but you get what I'm saying. Would you marry the BMW S1000 Double R, right? Would the BMW S1000 Double R put a smile on my face years down the line? I would have to say absolutely yes. One of the reasons for that is it does have that massive and violent power. It's just packaged way up top. Not the most convenient thing that I have to go way up there to get all that power. And I don't have to go, I shouldn't say way up there. You don't have to go that far up, but you do have to go up in the higher RPM to get that kind of power, right? But what it does very well is it taps into my top thing that I look for in bikes: flickability and stability to go with it. Right away on the BMW S1000 Double R, it's so good, I felt like it was my bike, and I've been riding it for years. First ride on the BMW S1000 Double R in the twisties, I felt like I could have rode much faster than I did, much faster than I should have, because it was that level of confidence inspiring that you got from that bike. Very flickable, very stable, right? Smooth throttle when you roll on nice and easy. And it has that power, it's just way up top or when you're going slow in first gear. A very, very, very well put together, precise, amazing machine that appeals to one of the best things that excites me about motorcycles, and that is in the twisties. If I'm going to be in the twisties, this is a top pick bike that I want to be on, and that's why it's a top pick for the show. The next pick that I would say from the show would have to be the MT10 from Yamaha. The reason for that is the MT10, and by the way, I forgot, my other top pick for the show would be the Aprilia Tuono. I forgot to mention that. Aprilia Tuono factory edition. I don't know what my phone is. My phone is acting crazy right now. But the Tuono, I don't think I would marry the Tuono. That's not a bike I could take home to my parents, right? But the MT10 I could. MT10, flickable in the corners, right? That's what I love. Lots of power, low-end grunt, mid-range grunt, violent power, wheelie monster, but yet can be civilized, can be tamed. Not as much a brute as bikes like the what was a brute? The I would say definitely, I don't want to say in general the Superduke is a brute, but compared to the MT10 it is a brute. I feel like the MT10 was more refined, right? My phone is just crazy right now. It's just vibe. Listen to this. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's just vibrating like constantly. It's not like it's just My phone is wilding out right now. That's crazy, and it won't shut off. So anyway, MT10, comfortable seat, smooth, just smooth. A very smooth bike. It's capable of being very classy. I won't say it's a classy bike, but capable of being very classy. Comfortable ride. With effort, you can get a smooth throttle. You might want to change the power modes to get that smooth throttle because it does have a lot of torque. So if you're not careful, you can get a little jerky movement. But certainly to me, much more smooth than the Tuono. The Tuono feels like a track weapon. That's why I eliminated the Tuono. The Tuono is a one-night stand for me. I would absolutely have a great night with the Tuono. But it feels more hard-edged. It's firmer with the suspension, which would be great on the track. It doesn't feel as comfortable to me. It's more of a track weapon. I don't spend a lot of time on the track, right? So because of that, because of the MT10 being more street-friendly, but yet friendly being a word I feel afraid to use because the MT10, not that it's an unfriendly bike, but it's got an amazing amount of torque. I mean, it's absolutely a hoodlum bike for sure, but
It can be tamed. Yamaha did a great job of having a bike that can be sensible, reasonable, civil, right? If you want to just be cruising, it's got so much torque that you want to get the RPMs real low. So you might be cruising through town in 5th gear or 4th gear, depending on the power mode, right? You can tone down the power mode, but if you don't want to do that, then you're gonna need to get the RPM really low so that you can just be cruising around town and it's comfortable, it's smooth, you're sitting nice and upright. Right, I could rack some miles on that bike. Now, because it was a top pick, that and the BMW S1000 Double R, I rode them again for the second time to see if they were really as exciting as I thought. Right, and what I found was the MT10, although it's great in the twisties, I found as you moved a little bit faster with the MT10 that it didn't feel as stable as I thought before. But before I get into that too much, I would want to have the bike set up for my weight, and I would want to spend some more time with it. So the MT10 definitely, it's really close to what I look for as an ultimate bike. The handlebar is comfortable, but I'm more of a sporty guy. I would rather have the typical handlebars like on a typical super sport bike, but have it be in a way where it's actually reasonable, so it's not too uncomfortable. I do appreciate the comfort of those straight bars, but you're getting away from my super sport. So that's a bike I definitely feel like I would take home for sure. Is it the ultimate bike? Could it be the dream bike for me? I don't know. I want more stability at higher speeds. That front end didn't seem to be as planted as I would like it to be. I didn't spend enough time to be too judgmental on that bike, but it's absolutely a top pick. It's absolutely a bike that I would marry and that I would take home. I would absolutely buy a Yamaha MT10 for sure. Is it dream bike material? I don't know. The third bike of the show that I would say is a top pick would definitely be the Honda Goldwing. Now, I would absolutely buy a Honda Goldwing for sure, but once again, this obviously would not be my only bike. No way is a Honda Goldwing my only bike. So it would have to be like bike 3 or 4. Because I'd want a lightweight machine to play around with and hone my skills. So Rc390, Ninja 400, Ninja 300. I definitely want a bike like that. Then I would want my sort of nimble track weapon. So something like the MT10, the Yamaha Xsr 900, the Bmw S1000 Double R, and then for my long range touring, the Goldwing definitely meets that bill, and the fact that it's so competent in the twisties, I feel so confident and comfortable. When I say comfortable, I mean in terms of I'm not worried about running off the road and this big heavy bike. Because of that, it definitely appeals to that. However, the Hayabusa is definitely a high pick for me in terms of touring bike, because ultimately I want to be on a super sport bike. The problem is super sport bikes are not that comfortable for long distance riding, so that's why the Hayabusa is a very exciting bike for me, because it's got that aggressive, violent acceleration, and it's more of the super sport type of bike, but it can't compete with the Goldwing for comfort. So that's why I say it's like a third or fourth bike, because I could see potentially having a Goldwing, a Hayabusa, a BMW S1000 Double R, and a Ktm Rc390. Well, actually, with the way I feel about KTM, let's maybe switch that to a Kawasaki 400 or 300. Now, I love the Rc390, but if we're talking about marriage here, the family comes with it, right? So I don't want to marry a bike and I enjoy the bike, but the family that comes with it is a nightmare. So
For that reason, I don't know that the Ktm Rc390 is a bike that I would marry. It's absolutely a great bike for extended one-night stands, shall we say. But unfortunately, due to the impression that I get from KTM as a company, I'm not totally shutting the door on KTM as a company, and my phone is still doing this. It won't even power off. This is crazy. I gotta figure out what's wrong with this after the stream. But so the Honda Goldwing is like bike number 4 in terms of bikes that I would own. You know what I mean? It's not a first bike, not a second bike. Got to be a third or fourth bike for sure. But it's not a bike that I'm just throwing in the collection just to have it there. It definitely is something that's bringing significant value to the collection. It's definitely a bike that would definitely be used and enjoyed by myself, once again, when I want to do those long distance trips. A bike that will be super convenient as far as for touring, but I could still have fun in the twisties if I wanted to. That is awesome. Well done, Honda. So those are my top picks for the 2018 Americade show, and thank you guys for joining in the live stream. Shout out to C. Kim, Christopher Carter, and Fast and Fearless. Go check out Fast and Fearless and Christopher Carter. They both do content. C. Kim, are you doing videos? Let's go check out C. Kim. I believe you were doing videos before. I don't know if you're still doing videos. But definitely check them out. C. Kim, Chris Carter, and Fast and Fearless for sure. Shout out to 650E. And we're also going to have some interviews coming up pretty soon. Unfortunately, we have some of our H2 riders that had some not so good experiences. One of our riders, unfortunately, just went through some surgery, the final of many surgeries due to a Ninja H2 incident, and we want that rider to share their story. That's been something I've been trying to arrange for some time, but they've been sort of healing and things like that. So as soon as I can, I will do the interview, and actually I'll check on them, see how they're doing. But that's it's unfortunate. I mean, we all know the risk that we take when we ride these amazing machines. Unfortunately, it goes with the territory. Anyway, I've been out of town for quite a while, and I need to go see the lady. Although I'm still sick and I don't want to infect her, but it's been like over a week now, so yeah. Anyway, this is your Fast Life Motorcycle channel, the most awesome motorcycle channel in the universe. Yay, yay!